Welcome back, everybody. We are here in Auckland, New Zealand on a perfect Monday night for the Stewart 34 Championship Series. My name is Suellen and I'm joined by a very special guest, Concup Steve, who has been commentating the Congressional Cup for
20 years now.
It's a long time, Steve. Now, you know a lot about sailing, and I reckon we need to get up there because there's 4 minutes to go.
It's time to get in, and we have a very special thing here because Finn, our driver's a racer, and Suellen's been doing this quite a while. We have permission to be right in the middle of the start line. As long as we don't impede a boat, we can be right in the middle of the fleet. The action so far has been absolutely fantastic. We've seen many changes in the lead, on down through the line. The wind's very shifty, so it's making great sailing so far. I really want to thank Suellen and Live Sail Die for letting me have this opportunity to really enjoy this day in Auckland.
Well, Steve, it's an honour to have you. Thank you for reaching out and asking to get involved because, you know, here in New Zealand we are open to making sure that our guests are welcome and looked after. So, you know, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here.
And the squadron could not have been nicer. We've spent a few days there and absolutely fantastic time. And when you get to go to the dinghy locker, you know you are where racing royalty has been. So we're the last day of the series today.
This is not just for this year. So
for this year.
We are back on again in March next year, but everybody wants to go into the Christmas New Year break knowing that they have the upper hand.
So far, watch for the men in the Christmas hats. They all have their Santa hats on, and that is Prince Hal leading the series, and a come from behind on the last leg, getting by Pahi. Great team right there, great crew work. But don't count Pahi out. They took the lead there in that race with some great sailing, just missed a shift, missed a light spot. So we'll see if their tactician can stay on top of that and keep them in that game. So a lot of passing, very equal boats. It's all crew work and tactics. Of course, the driver is very, very important.
So for those that are just tuning in, this is the second race of the night for the Stewart 34 Championship Series. The first race was won by Prince Hal. Pahi was second, followed by Psyche, then Passion, and then Playboy. So the top 5 boats all finished in the top 5.
So we're coming down under a minute 30 here. They're coming back to the start line. We're going to lead them through. Here comes Pahi up around. Okay, all the boats. Playboy is now going to be the lured boat coming in. So he was up towards the middle with lots of speed on the last one. Now he is the lured boat with a lot of time to go and not a lot of distance. So we'll see if he can stay right here.
Just watch them, Finn.
Okay, there's our 1 minute to go.
Go, Finn.
Right down in the lured pin. We'll get out of their way.
So people might wonder why we're right here in amongst it. We do have permission to be right in the mix.
It's coming down. The clock is down under 45 seconds and they're all coming. Now Playboy is over. They're going to have to get some space. Okay, so Pahi right over the top of Playboy here. Still a bit of time on the clock. So I don't know where Pahi is going to go. There's still 20 seconds to go. We'll see if they can keep below that orange buoy. Okay, they're turning down now, so Playboy's let them off the hook a little. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now Playboy is the lured boat with some good speed. Princess the windward boat. Great start. Now here we are, second start, and all of the boats still right on the line at the gun. Very, very close racing.
That was an exceptional start by everybody in the fleet, Steve. And coming up this first windward beat, we did actually see Pahi in the last race in that last windward work benefited from actually going to the right-hand side of the course. So let's see if that westerly is going to give us the same conditions at that top of the course.
It's going to be very interesting. It's very puffy. Now Playboy is way to leeward, and we've got Psyche outsailing Princess here, just doing a great job. So Princess is forced over. Psyche is trying to keep up his speed, hold this starboard side advantage, but he's got a boat right to leeward of him, I believe, Precedent.
Now, Steve, if my calculations are correct, I reckon that this breeze has shifted slightly, and see, some of these boats are almost laying that top mark.
It's shifted south. Now, Precedence is doing a very good job here. They have much more breeze over here to the right, so Playboy fought hard to get to the leeward end, and so far it hasn't been paying, but he is the lead boat down there. We'll see how he comes across. It worked for Princess Hal, who's in the middle now. Princess Hal with Precedent, after an average race last time, has a lot of speed here. Can they hold Princess Hal out? Princess Hal is sailing masterfully to leeward of him, trying to force Precedent to tack. And they're on a huge southerly lift here. So it's put Playboy quite a ways away to leeward, but we're here watching Precedent trying to hold. Of course, they've got an import. Mark Ittenmeyer is their main trimmer tonight from California.
Bringing in all the big guns tonight, are we?
Yep. Mark,
now
part of the
you can see
Jazz
that Prince
team.
Hal has managed to push up, and Precedence is just sort of getting sucked down into their dirty air now.
Being the leeward boat from the middle of the line, not the windward end, forced Precedent over. Now we'll see how it works for Playboy. They're going to be coming from a long ways away. Coming back, it looks like Prince Hal's done a great job. Now there are boats up on the starboard lay line. We'll see how Precedent does. Psyche has a great deal of speed on starboard tack. This could be close here. Nice port starboard here. Precedent's trying to get by him. Can they do it? It looks very close. It looks like they've got some speed. Puff lift, and they have gotten by on port tack. Great job for 1880 Precedent on that one.
That was impressive to watch. You know, you don't want to see these boats come together.
Now it's Psyche going after Prince Hal. Precedent was slightly a lead. Looks like Prince Hal's found some good stuff up here, while way over to the left, Playboy has found a light spot over there in the city front. So it's Prince Hal leading the fleet again, but Psyche right there with good speed.
This westerly is playing havoc on the calls and the decisions that people are making, and for Playboy to go far left and commit to far left in a westerly breeze, it seems like a dodgy call, and I don't think it's going to pay off for them at all. But looking here at our top two boats, we've got the yellow boat Psyche and Prince Hal, the blue boat, just above them off our left-hand shoulder.
Prince Hal and Psyche have a great deal more wind than the rest of the fleet. Precedence is coming over with a bit of light air on starboard, and so Prince Hal seems to make their own wind right now. They are going a knot faster than the fleet with a big pressure as they tack towards that weather mark all by themselves. It looks like Psyche should maintain second. Wow, what a tremendous job by this Prince Hal team and Psyche to get into second here. Now we'll get back to Prince Hal as they round the windward mark all by themselves, masterfully taking advantage of those shifts and forcing Precedent over. Now if Precedence can make this mark, they will be second around. They have their pull-up already, so they believe that they've got the mark covered, so they've been able to hold second ahead of Psyche here. But you can see how much Prince Hal gained on forcing Precedent over. And Prism, who had a rough go last time, is sitting up in the front half of the lead.
And we had Pahi and Playboy, who were the boats coming in on port, having to tack underneath the fleet as they come in onto this ley line. This is close racing.
It is tight. So the lead was all Prince Hal, then Precedent with Psyche right on his stern. We watched Psyche be able to get that chute up faster and get under their competition last time.
Ben?
So we have four boats rounding the windward mark together. Shoots up. They've got a wrap on Precedent.
And it's out.
It's out, and Psyche's up, and he'll be right over the top of Precedent right here. Oh, they're throwing a little jibe.
Well, they know that the other side of the course has more breeze.
Right, looking for that pressure. Suellen, this is fantastic racing here. To have so many boats this tight.
I have to say, I've only been in New Zealand for 7 years, and I think the sailing in New Zealand is by far some of the best in the world. You know, Steve, that you can race competitively every single night of the week, and you can race every single weekend.
We were out on the boats on Friday for the Rum Regatta, and it's an on Spinnaker, a great deal of fun. And it was blowing over 20, and it was a blast, completely covered in water for that event. And now it's gotten light here on the middle of the course, down to about 8-9 knots of wind.
Now the boat that we're looking at here, Princess, and there's a girl on the back of the boat who is trimming there, and her name is Olivia Christie, and she just won the Sir Peter Blake Regatta Trophy, the Sir Peter Blake Trophy,
wow.
For outstanding sportsmanship and great results at the Sir Peter Blake Regatta. And she's a laser radial sailor, and so she goes from a laser radial and jumps on and, you know, trims a big kite downwind on a Stewart 34.
Trimming it masterfully. It is perfectly trimmed. We have 2 different winds on the course here, so it's going to be real dicey on this first downwind leg on this race.
Hey, that breeze has really dropped off now, Steve.
It has. We've got boats on both sides of the course. Pahi has gone way out towards the bridge side, the south side, and Princess is here over on port jibe with Prism. Maybe we can turn this around. We've got a port starboard right here. This is a very close call right here. Princess is going to have to get clear to go across.
This is
Princess on port tack with no right of way, and they are going for it, but they're going to lose their air to Prism right here, so they're forced to jibe away. So that's a big move by Prism if they're keeping an eye on the winds.
Now, we did see this last time in the last race. Remember, Steve, we had boats coming out here playing silly buggers on another side of the course, losing focus of what the rest of the fleet was doing.
As we pan slowly over to Prince Hal, who's got a huge lead, he's actually got the wind coming from the southwest. So being over here, it could turn into a real longer course. So these two are fighting to go the wrong way, sadly. Psyche started to get the wind going. Precedent is coming down on starboard tack. I think we probably see Psyche and Precedent there. And Pahi right behind those two. So they're going to get the wind long before Prism. And all these boats start with a P. They set the precedent for their name. All the Stewart 34's all start with a P.
And the first boat was Partiki, and Partiki is sailing in the B division.
But he's still out here, and that's a beautiful thing. 60 years of boating with the same yacht.
One design racing at its best. You can race one design on a Monday night, then get your boat ready to go cruising for the weekend.
That is so wonderful. Okay, so Precedent has done a nice job out here to the southern side of things. Pahi coming in with a lot of speed on Psyche, who's been really challenged at the leeward mark with their position to the other boats. So Psyche's got to get around, but they'll be the outside boat. It's a gate, but all favoring the southern side towards the bridge. So we'll watch these two boats round simultaneously. See if Psyche can get out from under Pahi here. Pahi got second in the last race. And they're going to be going back to the windward mark. So great job of Pahi getting well out south, coming in with breeze and getting the inside overlap on Psyche. But Psyche smart enough to stay not overlapped. If they can get around, get that jib in, they can get an inside on Pahi here. So nice job. Paul on this helm did a nice job getting a spot. Now it's going to be up to Pahi to try and force them over.
Now that's a perfect example of how a mark rounding can make all the difference. However, it's not going to pay off for Psyche because they've just been sucked in under Pahi and they're getting their bad air now.
Didn't have enough speed to pull that maneuver, but it was a good effort trying to get back something, being the boat outside. Now that's going to force them into the bad air of precedent. But with all the wind shifts, it's not over. Prince Hal says it's over. They're a quarter of a leg ahead.
Now this boat here, Psyche, is full of young sailors, and most of them are part of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron Performance Program who train in the NACRA 20s in foiling. And don't be surprised if you see some of these sailors that are on this boat in future Emirates Team New Zealand lineup.
That's where they get them, from their homegrown here in New Zealand. And they've been some of the best sailors in the world for quite a long time. So we're seeing that south has been paying. That's towards the bridge that goes over Takapuna. That's the one that runs a lot of the length of the country. We just spent a whole day on the 2, which takes you down to Gisborne. What a beautiful place down there.
I've actually run a race from Auckland to Gisborne with the Royal Akurana Yacht Club a couple of years ago, Steve, and I think it almost took longer to drive there than it did to sail. It's a bit of a mission getting there.
Straight through the mountains. It looks like a nice place to sail to.
All right, well, we might go check out what Pahi is up to, Finn.
Now, Pahi has been favoring this southern side because there's been more pressure up here and southern shifts. So they're trying to get to the stern of precedent. They're rounded ahead of them. We're trying to stay in the action. Prince Hal has left the fleet. So they're up a quarter of a length of race course ahead, but Pahi and Precedent and Psyche are still in touch with each other as Pahi gets more and more pressure.
There's a lot more separation in this race, Steve, than there was in the last one.
That light spot really took tasks to some of the boats, but Pahi keeps finding these southerlies over here, almost laying the mark. That's going to be very close with them and Precedent as they get to the mark, and Precedent has hit a bit of lighter stuff. A little farther north than they are. Should be very close as they get there. Big shifts coming in, 20 degrees back and forth between the southerly and the westerly blowing through the marina on down.
Steve, I just thought I'd let you know as well, not only have we got people watching from America, but we've also got people watching in Korea.
Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. Well, I've seen your footage. It should be watched worldwide every time you do a regatta because it's absolutely great racing and great training footage. Having equal boats out here, you start to look what to look for that pays off. Now you can see Precedent was able to hold that lead, but one of the biggest things you look for in a big boat is wind pressure, and you see that coming down in striations, dark patches on the water until it goes to white caps. So you really look for that wind pressure because that gets that speed up a whole knot and a half to 2 knots faster.
And look, these boats are all struggling with this shifty southwesterly, more coming down the harbour here. Well, sorry, not down the harbour, coming straight out of the marina. The guys are actually racing across the harbour.
It's
one side
absolutely
to the other.
Fantastic course. Now, Prince Hal had a very late pop, just to mention how the leader's doing.
Look at this
They're
lift.
very
Just sorry
lazy
to
fair
interrupt.
with no
Look
wind.
at this lift.
Oh my gosh. Pahi has gone from not making it to a 20-degree lift and laying the weather mark, passing right through the lee of Precedent.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the westerly shift.
Fantastic job.
It either makes you feel extremely happy or it can be as frustrating as anything. And for Precedent, who have just lost out second due to a shift that Pahi managed to get, very disappointing for the Precedent guys. But they are still in third place.
Oh, and we're going to see a lot of shifting downwind as Prince Hal has no spinnaker. It is completely dead through the headfoil. They've just gotten it going now as they had a wind shift. So a good crew here with a jibe set could really make out. or a quick, it's an end for end, so they can jibe at will. They've set their chute on the offset. Now will they be ready to jibe as they get to the...
So crew work is going to be vital coming into this offset mark for the last time in the second race of the day.
So Pahi has jibed. Gotta get that big spinnaker around. Prism has taken the inside, but they have their jib still up and their pull on the wrong side. So Prism has some control issues here. Passion is already rounded, already has their spinnaker to the other side. So the 5th place boat may be in, or 6th place boat could be in 3rd in just a moment, because they've got their chute around.
Trouble. That's not good for Precedent, who was having a fantastic race. And it all seems to be coming crumbling as they come down to this last downwind leg of the race. A little puff coming through, and you can see Passion is just rolling over everybody, or more of a reach than a downwind. That breeze has changed again. And we can see Prism as well. Look at that tight reach that Prism is on.
They've been able to really do a good job up there with getting their chute up on Prism, and they had their jib up, but they've lost their chute for a moment. Passion has done a great job getting by Precedent. So it was that jibe set that these guys weren't ready for.
You need to have someone constantly looking over your shoulder to call those shifts. And it made all the difference for Passion and Prism. Precedent just wasn't ready for it.
So, but they'll be all on. The breeze is on, and it's come around 90 degrees from the start. I am going to have to look at a compass and see exactly where it's coming from after this race. But we believe we'll have 4 races in this series tonight. Playboy's jib still up, a big disadvantage in this condition. And they've got Psyche right over the top of them.
All sorts of problems on board Playboy there tonight.
3 boats together here. Of course, Prince Hal has gotten it together, and they're going to win yet another race. And Pahi. Is that Pahi up there?
Pahi is in 2nd.
So the same result. They were able to really get through the fleet here and just leave these guys at the end. Precedent is trying to get something back, getting to Passion, who has lost their spinnaker. This will be wild racing. Trying to get to Passion every way they can. Prism enjoying their matching, because Prism is now getting away from them.
And who said these boats were slow? They are flying across the harbour here.
They sure are, reaching down. Great sailing. It's up 2 boats side by side fighting here.
Fighting for that overlap, and there it is.
Precedent has it. But they've got to get to him before the finish line. It's good racing. Prism's done a nice job to come through the fleet there.
So Prince Hal first, Pahi 2nd, Prism 3rd, Passion looks to get the 4th, Precedent 5th, and then Psyche and Playboy.
What's been so exciting is so many lead changes. It's just been so exciting to watch as the boats change their positions. A lot with crew work, a lot with missing the shifts. We saw none of the boats 100% ready for that shift that came down through the bridge. So great racing, great job by Passion to pass a couple boats.
Really ripped the microphone out of you then, didn't I, Steve?
Good sailing here. And the whole fleet finishing very close together. It makes it very good racing. So now we've seen the leeward end pay the first race, and then terrible in the second race as we got those wind shifts. But no matter what's going on, Prince Hal has found a place to get through on both races. Started in the middle of that one, and it paid off big as they got to more pressure, as they get that big lift at the top mark. Really shifty, great conditions here. I really enjoy this. Very beautiful boat still. 59 years later, and they're just beautiful. Well maintained. Very comfortable blow.
No lifelines.
Nope, I found that on Friday. Quite exhilarating. Hanging completely over the side of the boat.
All right, Steve, well, that's race 2, done and dusted. What do you reckon about that one?
You can't get better racing than this. To have different parts of the course pay off during the 2 different races. Crew work, immensely important, yet there's still places to even make up more by the tacticians here. So it's absolutely fantastic racing and a great training ground for these young sailors that are going to move on to bigger, faster boats or smaller, faster boats, and then eventually the best of the best go to America's Cup.
That is true. All right, Steve, we're going to cut the feed for that one. The plan is to go live again for the 3rd race. Now, we might have a surprise for you. We'll make a decision shortly, but we'll either be back on the rib chasing them around, or I will be on board Passion right in amongst it. And Steve, you'll be watching, won't you?
It's great sailing. I wouldn't miss a second.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. That was the 2nd race of the Stewart 34 Championship Series here in Auckland, New Zealand, racing with the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. You can see the boats there just taking a wee break in between races, and we'll cut this feed now and we'll be back soon.
Thank you, Suellen.